Hey, welcome back to Pixie Packing Travel Co. Today we're going to talk about 5 super tips for what to pack for Disney World in April. I am Shelly Meyer, head of Pixie Packing Travel Company. I have a blog, pixiepacking.com, and so if you see me referring down that, I'm looking at my blog. This is one of my most popular blogs. I haven't posted on this channel in a long time, but I intend to post on here tips for packing for Disney World, tips for planning your Disney World vacation. I'm a certified Disney travel planner. I also am a frequent Disney travel goer. I go, a few times a year to both Disney World, Disneyland. Grew up in South Florida. Have taken my kids from when they were really little to now them being teenagers, and traveled myself there as a child. And we're Disney Vacation Club members, so done lots of Run Disney races also. So there's a lot of topics I'm covering on here. It's been a while since I posted, like I said, but today I wanted to talk about one of my most popular blogs, which is five super tips on what to pack for Disney World in April. So April can be a busy time. It's kind of after that season of March, but these tips can still apply for March as well, because we're going to talk about crowd levels in March and April. We're going to talk about like the temperature, the weather, what to pack for that. And then there's also a packing list you can download. So 5 tips here, and then there's lots more on the blog too if you want to look into that. So first, let's start with weather. So you got to understand what can happen in Florida, Central Florida, in April and in the spring. So the average temperatures range from, in Fahrenheit, 60 degrees to even highs of mid 80s. Usually it's more hot than it is that 60s. And that means you can experience kind of needing maybe some layers in the morning and then stripping off those layers in the evening, or not in the evening, but in the afternoon when the sun is blazing. And it can be very humid. If you've traveled to Florida, you would know that it's super humid, and it can feel even hotter than it should at certain temperatures. So you can always check the weather forecast for your trip. Everybody's got those apps on their phone, and just be prepared that it might rain. It's not as likely, but as it is in the summer when you can really predict those afternoon rainstorms. But you do want to bring a rain layer, and we're going to talk about what the best thing is to bring for that. So let's talk about crowd level. So how busy is Disney World in April? There's no slow time for Disney World anymore. So it's going to be busy in April regardless, but March is a bit busier. So they can be high if spring breaks are still going on. I know in Colorado, where I live, we do sometimes have our spring break for our kids go into April, so you can still get a lot of that. So because it's one of the more crowded times, now early April is going to be more crowded than later April. So if you have an option and you're not trying to go around kids' schedules, I'd say go in later April. It can also get crowded around Easter, depending on where that might fall. This year it's falling a little bit later. And Disney World does some fun things for Easter. They have the different, and I'm going to go into this, the different Easter egg designs of chocolate. I'll put some pictures. Beautiful designs at the hotels, some of the hotels, and they have sometimes the Easter bunny at Disney World. So there's some fun things, but it can get more crowded because of that. So part of the tips for packing and planning for April are to arrive early. That's always something I always focus on. If you want a clear-cut strategy for getting the most done on your Disney World day, I have a whole park plan. I have them for each park, and then a combination for all 4 parks where you can save money on the combo. I'll put a link to that. They're called Pixie park plans. Hard to say fast. So you do want to rope drop or use early entry. Early entry is when you're with a qualifying Disney Good Neighbor hotel or Disney Resort hotel where you can get in 30 minutes early. It's not as good as it used to be where you could get in an hour early, but if you utilize those 30 minutes using a strategy like in my plans, and I'm gonna have some videos specifically on what that strategy is, then you can really get a lot done. So definitely, if you have that early entry, make the most of it. Try to get there an hour before, or like 30 to 45 minutes before early entry starts, like an hour before the actual park opening time. And they will let you in a little bit early. And in my strategy plans and in my other blogs, I have the lists of what's open at early entry. At Magic Kingdom, for example, like Tron, you can go and wait at Tomorrowland, but you can't quite get into Tron at early entry. It's not going to start going, but they will actually let you start going through the line. And so you can get that done at early entry, just not, you're not going to get off of it before the park officially opens. Space Mountain, you can get done easy, no problem at early entry. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, you can get in line. They start running that during early entry, but it still builds up, and you should get there super early. So those are just examples. Utilize Lightning Lane. So Genie Plus was taken over by Lightning Lane last year, I think. And that's when you pay to play. Basically, you pay to have, I missed the days of Fast Pass when you didn't have to pay, but you pay to, have your early, or not early, but you pay to have skip the line. And so if you can, if it's in your budget, definitely utilizing early entry in busy spring times, especially if you're going late March, early April. And then use a crowd calendar. In my blog that accompanies this video, I have crowd calendars. So like I said, it's going to be lower crowd levels in the later parts of April. And then take breaks throughout the day. Try to find quiet places. If you're going to Epcot, there's a lot of quiet places around the Japan Pavilion. There's some quiet places over in Hollywood Studios. Like even if you go into Galaxy's Edge over like later in the day at the eating area over there, you can find some quiet places or places to sit down in the shade. That's at Hollywood Studios, I said. And Animal Kingdom. Sorry, I was like, what's the other park? Animal Kingdom has some quiet places. Especially if you're off hours, you can go over by like Flame Tree Barbecue and some of those areas to sit by the tree, and there are lots of little paths by the Tree of Life to sit and calm down and have some quiet time. And then take breaks. If it gets hot, if you get there early, it's good to go take breaks at your hotel. So let's talk about what to wear and what to pack. So you want to pack for that wide range of day to night temperatures. So layering, cooling temperatures, like a lightweight base layer. I like to bring a t-shirt or a tank top, and then like a light hoodie like this, or a zip up kind of hoodie. That way, if it is a little cooler, which is probably not going to be, but if it is a little cooler, if you're going in March or early April, you can use that hood. You can use the layer for the really cold air conditioned theaters that they have, and not so that you're not too cold in those, because I get cold really easily. Also, you could use a raincoat, because raincoats are a good layer, and then if it rains, you have your raincoat. And then I usually have a t-shirt or a tank top underneath. And breathable fabrics, cotton or linen, are better for temperatures in Central Florida. And then like a lightweight scarf or a shawl if you didn't want to bring a hoodie. Yeah, that's harder to, it can be easily packed, but it's harder to keep you warm sometimes if you are cold. So definitely in the spring, you want to pack shorts or skirts, if you wear skirts, with quick drying material that if you sweat, you're not going to get all gross like with the shorts. And then I have some in my blog that I love. I love Skirts by Scotty Vest. Scotty Vest is it's really expensive, but they have so many different pockets. If you want to travel to Disney World without like all your bags and having to go through the bag line where they have to go through your bags, that's the way to go. Something with lots of pockets. So Scotty Vest skirts are great. I love Madewell linen shorts. Those are breathable. And Rip Skirt Hawaii or Toad & Company are some great companies that I love for packable, breathable clothing, but there's lots of things out there. Moisture wicking and breathable tops to keep you cool and dry in the heat. 100% cotton, like I said, or dry fit material. And I've got some ideas on the blog. And then, bring a bathing suit for sure, because it is going to usually be warm enough to use the pools. And there's going to be really great pools if you're staying on site or even off site. So definitely pack a mix of tank tops, t-shirts, layering shirts, maybe a raincoat. I do think a raincoat, or a light jacket or a cardigan if you have any kind of cooler nights or air-conditioned attractions. And then pants-wise, I do like to travel in like a long, maybe a cottony, linen-y kind of pant, or a legging if you like leggings. Something that can, not jeans, I usually don't bring jeans to Florida unless it's like January, but something that is lightweight that can easily be rolled up and fit into your bag, because I have a family of 5. I tend to travel on Frontier because I live in Denver and we travel from here. We can travel cheaply. So Frontier is going to charge you for your bag. So we try to travel as lightweight as we can, roll things up, use the compression bags, and get them into like our personal bag that we can carry with us. We carry a really small bag or backpack, and then we'll like have one carry-on that all family, we can put our extra stuff, bigger stuff in. It's just saving us some money if you need some money saving tips. And then in my blog, I have some ideas on cute outfit ideas where you can dress like your favorite, not exactly dress like your favorite character, but bound, that we call Disney bounding, where you wear that color and you got wear that color match. And so there's some really good ideas I got off Pinterest that you can look on there. There's some ideas for Rapunzel, Lilo, Mushu, Goofy, and so I have a Pinterest reference there. But Disney does have a dress code. Keep that in mind. Nothing offensive or graphics, and you can't wear clothes that are too revealing. So I don't do that. I'm a 50-something-year-old woman, but there are people that do get turned down for getting in there. They get dress coded, they call it. So definitely choose more family friendly and fun outfits. You could coordinate outfits, like I said, Disney bound. You can accessorize. I like to wear things like my Disney earrings or hats, or there's lots of Loungefly bags that are great, and a lot of handmade things on Etsy that I love, and I have some links to that. So let's also get into shoes. You definitely want to pack comfy shoes. You're gonna do a lot of steps. Usually we do 20 to 30,000 steps a day when we're there. So making sure your shoes are supportive. So I usually wear on the plane, because like I said, I'm optimizing my bag and not packing a lot in a bag. I wear my sneakers or athletic shoes on the plane, tennis shoes. And then that'll be my one pair of those. And then I will have I like flip-flops. I know, I like Crocs flip-flops. I like UFOs are my favorite. Those will last me throughout the whole day and be super comfortable. I know some people don't like those as far as the arch support or any kind of support, but those are my favorite in the warmer months. So there's also the Tevas. A lot of people like Tevas because those are like strappy kind of comfy bed, like footbed sandals. And then I have a full blog on the best shoes that I have found for Disney. And you may disagree, but I'd love to hear what your favorite shoes are for Disney and what kind of things you pack for your spring trip. And then the gear for rainy days. So again, you can use a rain jacket as a layer for when you're cold, and then also for the rain, because you must bring some kind of rain protection, because it very much could rain even especially like in the spring. In most places it rains, but Florida, it's more predictable in the summer, but it's more unpredictable in the spring. So it's going to happen. It's just not as predictable as far as the timing goes when it's going to happen in the day. So bring a raincoat or a small umbrella. They have those mini umbrellas. I will put some of those links in the description of the favorite ones that I've tried. Also, if you look at the temperature and you find that it's going to be super hot when you're there, they have the reflective, like more protective kind of umbrellas, and then some with the misters on them. So I will put a link to one of those. I really love those. And then maybe a waterproof bag, or make sure your backpack is easily handles the water well if you're bringing a bag or backpack. And the Loungeflies do, and a lot of backpacks do, so it's usually not a problem. So events in April, what to pack for certain events and what to prepare for in certain events. So April, you're going to see the Flower and Garden Festival at Epcot, which is wonderful. There's all the topiaries. I'll put some pictures in of those. And it's really fun. Lots of good eats there at the Epcot festivals, and the Flower and Garden is no exception. So prepare for that. To do that, I usually like to load some money on a gift card for the festival, so you know how much you're spending at the different booths. Again, you want to have your layers. If you're going to be at Epcot for Flower and Garden, you may be doing a lot of activities and maybe they're all day. So layer up in the morning and the afternoon. You may want to dress in some colorful kind of layers just to be more like the Flower and Garden Festival. And then you also may want to prepare for their Garden Rocks concert series. So making sure you plan ahead for that as far as being there, maybe when those go off, but or when those happen, but maybe having a package where you can eat at a certain restaurant, and I'll have those listed in the description. and then, you know, get entry into the concert and get a better seat. So that's something to think about too. Also Easter, like I said, the Disney Resort hotels like Boardwalk, Beach Club, which are close to Epcot, and the Grand Floridian, which is close to the Magic Kingdom, have Easter displays, very artful, decorative eggs that are made from chocolate, which is amazing. And that's all. I have pictures of those on the blog, and that can be a fun activity to do. So maybe, you know, making sure you pack stuff to make you, if you're not staying at one of those hotels, like you go to the park, Magic Kingdom or Epcot, you want to go visit one of those hotels, you know, going and bringing a change of shoes if you want. You don't have to dress up for the hotels, but bringing some extra clothes or layers for if you're going to be inside and it'll be cold at these hotels potentially. But it's really fun to go see these. It's a nice fun activity to get out of the parks for a little bit. So some bonus tips: packing water bottles. You always want to pack a water bottle. Collapsible ones are what I like. There's some that I like with little clips on them that clip to your bag, and they're great for, you know, collapsing when you don't want a big bouncy water ball hanging off of your bag. Also like the Brita stainless steel premium filtering water bottle, because the Florida water is pretty nasty, and so that'll filter it. What else? You got to stay hydrated, so definitely pack your water bottles. I always have a nice little kind of first aid kit with me, because I usually have like a lot of people with me. So I usually put in that some kind of nausea medicine for one of my daughters that gets kind of sick to her stomach, like a Tums I'll keep in there, calendula cream for any kind of burning or anything like that. Maybe some arnica or like some kind of pain management for headaches or things like that, and band-aids, blister pads. I keep those in there, and sunscreen for sure. And then, so yeah, always make sure you pack some sunscreen and lip balm with sunscreen in it, because the sun is really strong there. What else? Staying connected. My Disney experience is going to be an essential part of your day. You're going to have to understand that app. I walk all through that in my, I walk you all through that in my training classes, like the course, the Pixie Park plans, and those are available for each park and in a bundle, like I said. But you want to be familiar with my Disney Experience app before you go, and you want to make sure you have a really good charger. I will put some links in the description of some chargers I really like. I like to bring the fuel rods, because you can buy those ahead of time cheaper on Amazon, and then exchange them at the kiosks in the parks for free. So you get a whole new charger, and you don't get like the cords and everything, because those come with the original one that you buy. And you can buy the original one on there, but it's like $30 from the machine, where you can get it cheaper on Amazon or online before you go. But those are handy to have, because in case your other charger, your better charger, stops working, you will have the fuel rod that you can exchange. But so I always bring a fuel rod or two, and then I always bring a much better like credit card charger, kind of like a thin charger that's flat but very powerful. And I found one that's also a flashlight, so I will put that in there, because that has made it so much easier, because it's such a great charger. You can charge multiple things at once on it. I cannot remember the name of it, but I'll put it in the description. So you definitely want to bring a good charger, and utilize charging stations. I have a whole blog on Disneyland and Disney World charging stations, so I'll put that link in the description. What else? Oh yeah, use power saving on your phone, so that you can make your battery last the longest. Sometimes you even want to get off of Disney Wi-Fi, because it's not that great. It might save your battery too. And then there's some battery cases that you can try that are phone cases that can be really helpful. Make sure. I think that's everything. So you do want to pack layers. You want to pack a rain protection, sun protection, maybe a little first aid kit, breathable materials, good shoes, maybe a change of shoes. I forgot to say that if you're going to be out a long time at the hotels or going to events, maybe that's when you pack the flip-flops and you wear your tennis shoes or athletic shoes, and you can change it up. But pack some blister protection, really good charger, Make sure your phone is in working condition so you can use the My Disney Experience app. And if you want to save on maybe not packing a bag, maybe getting a skirt or a shorts or something like that that has lots of little pockets, or Scotty vests. I know they look weird and I'll put a link to them, but they're really great too. So hopefully this was helpful. I have the full blog and on pixiepacking.com, lots of other information on packing, planning, budgeting for your trip and for your Run Disney trips, being prepared for those too. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.